Tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Louisiana governor's results and why the Democrats are really afraid because of what happened in Louisiana. Now, the lowest voter turnout for a Louisiana governor's election, let's say in a dozen years, yielded a meltdown for Democrats. Good job, people. Good job. It's as a result, Republican Attorney General Jeff Landry sailed to victory in Saturday's primary contest without needing a runoff. Analysts attribute the Democrat Party's failure to get a candidate into the runoff to low black voter turnout, tepid enthusiasm for leading Democrat Sean Wilson, who sought to become the state's first black governor since Reconstruction, and surprisingly strong support for Landry among those black Louisianans who did go to the polls. Well, look at there. There were some black people that voted the other side. See, I don't know. Don't let these Boule members tell you, or even some of the Shields tell you, that black folks aren't fed up. That black folks, either they're not voting for nobody at all, or they say, you know what, I'm just going to go on the other side because I'm sick of these policies. I'm sick of what these Democrats are doing. There's a lot of black people starting to say that now, all over America, all over. And a few reasons why, and y'all know the reasons. I don't have to keep going into it. Of course, the economy, the inflation, watching the Democrats give everybody resources and give nothing to the black community. Nothing. You see, Boule Martin and the gang, they can't get black people to the polls because they don't even know how black people even feel. And even when they talk about the feelings of black people like Boule Martin and the gang, all they're going to do is talk down to you and cuss you out and belittle you. They're not going to engage with you and understand your plight and where you're coming from because they're not even dealing with you like that, right? So this is why you deal with the real people that can actually know the pulse of black America. Now, you have one of them say, I think that in Louisiana, Democrats are in serious trouble. That is a John Covillian. You say a Baton Rouge-based pollster who typically works with Republican clients and was the first to call the race for Landry on Saturday. He said, and it's not just Sean. In other words, it's not a Sean Wilson problem. Just like I said, in Chicago, it's not a Mayor Brandon Johnson problem. It was not a Lori Lightfoot problem. It is a Democrat problem. Now, they said about 36% of Louisiana's 3 million registered voters cast ballots in the primary. That's a little over 1 million voters there. Not even 1.1 million, but 1.08 million voters showed up. Everybody else stayed home, okay? So a lot of people were not even engaged in the process. They say Democrats suffered due to particularly anemic numbers, in blue strongholds such as Orleans Parish, where turnout was just 27%. So hardly nobody showed up to vote for the Democrats in Orleans Parish. Nobody. See, black people are fed up. And you remember when we covered where Democrats cannot win elections without black people? Even if the white voters, Asian voters, and Hispanic voters, if all of them vote and black people don't vote at all, Democrats cannot win elections. Do you see this? This is proof that they cannot win elections without black people. Now, they say Wilson received 26% of votes cast statewide. They say while none of the four other major candidates for governor reached 10% of the vote. Now, they say the result was, a stunning victory for Landry. They say as the favorite Republican seized 51.6% of the primary vote. They say candidates competing in Louisiana's primary need over 50% to win outright and avoid a runoff. Now, I say while pollsters have predicted low overall turnout following a quiet early voting period, they say the numbers surprised even seasoned political operatives. They say Landry's fundraising strength and polling success made him a front runner throughout the race. They say, but the state's typical breakdown of Democratic voters meant few had considered an outright Landry victory in the primary a serious possibility. They say in a quote, "I didn't see this coming," said a Robert Collins, a professor of public policy and urban studies at Dillard University in New Orleans. He said nobody, and I mean nobody, saw Jeff Landry winning outright. Now, they say as Governor Landry, they consider him a conservative firebrand backed by Donald Trump. They say it's sure to swing the state's policies to the political right. They say his victory cements the GOP's increasing dominance in Louisiana. And say as Republicans appear poised to keep their supermajorities in both chambers of the state legislature. They said the GOP is also well positioned to sweep down ballot statewide races in the November 18th runoff. And they said turnout in the primary was lower than any gubernatorial, they said, contest in more than a decade. They say the showing was nearly a low as the historic lukewarm turnout in 2011 when former Governor Bobby Jindal, they said, cruised to re-election after no well-organized opponent challenged him. They say about 280,000 fewer ballots were cast this year than in 2019 when Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards faced two Republican opponents for re-election. About 52,000 fewer people voted than in Edwards' first race in 2015. Now, say St. Bernard Parish, they say, was the only parish in the state where turnout actually increased over the last gubernatorial race. They say inching up from 34%, 38%, but a four-way race for parish president, and say was also on St. Bernard's ballot, and more voters actually marked down a preference in that race than they did for the governor's race. And we just kind of building it up, folks, because we're going to get to the meat of this. Now, they say the most dramatic drops came in the north. They say Louisiana parish of Richland, they say East Carroll and West Carroll. They say in each of these parishes, turnout fell, and say for more than 50% in 2019, less than 38% this year. Now, if you're looking at this picture I'm put up on the screen, this picture that we have up on the screen here is what it looks like on the map, right? And when they mention East Carroll is a Democrat stronghold. And remember, they said that had drops in vote too, okay? So let's continue. They say in New Orleans, the bluest, it said parish in the state, and the only one that gave Wilson over 50% of the vote, turnout was 30% lower than in 2019. The turnout there fell at a faster rate, but in all 7 other parishes, the 8 parish New Orleans metro area saw lower turnout than the state as a whole at 32.7%. They say according to analysts by Ed Chevernak, it's a University of New Orleans political scientist. They say 15 parishes grew their turnout compared to 2015. They say the most substantial increase was Wynn Parish. I said those who rose by 46% to 53%. And I said Landry performed better on election day than he did during the 7-day early voting period. They said that ended on October 7th. Landry got less than 50% of votes during the early primary, but secured 54% on election day. Wilson, meanwhile, secured 29% of votes in early voting compared to 24% on election day. Now, they say Covelin, they say the Baton Rouge pollster said the 3 factors that drove his decision to call the governor's race for Landry, which he did on the social media site X. They say the attorney general was exceeding polling forecasts in various parishes from the moment votes started trickling in. Covelin also said that Landry also was dominating the election day and said vote in a heavily populated Jefferson Parish, which is seen as something of a swing district because Edwards had carried it in the past. As they finally, the turnout was so low, they say in the large Democratic parishes of Orleans, remember Orleans is black, Caddo and East Baton Rouge black. They said that even several thousand outstanding ballots in those districts appeared incapable of tipping Landry beneath 49%. Now, Wilson suffered a double whammy of unmotivated black voters and a larger than expected share of those voters siding with Landry. Look at there. So not only did black people set it out, that's what they did, but some that came to vote say, you know what? I'm not voting for you Democrats. I'm going to go vote for the Republican just to show you. See, that's what I talk about, like doing a protest vote, because after the election, they look at if black people went actually to vote. They know you sat it out, fine. But they can say, wait a minute, black people voted more for this guy? Remember we said before, Democrats cannot win elections without black people. And then the black people that's showing up, they went vote for Landry too. And I know. Well, what you think Landry gonna do for them? the same thing the Democrats is doing. Maybe Landry got some policies that benefit these black people. And that's why they say, you know what, I'm going to go out and vote for him. They say in 2019 primary, they say according to Covian's analysis, Edwards secured 91% of votes, in precincts with 70% or more black voters. They say Wilson just received 70% of those votes in those areas, while Landry obtained 12%, an unusually high share for a conservative Republican. So he got 12% of the black vote. Now, this is a new day. You can't tell us he's going to be the first black governor since Reconstruction. So get out there and vote for him. See, they don't work no more. See, y'all ruined the first black card y'all had. Y'all actually had a first black card for a while. But when we see what the first black do, you get in there and you're talking about LGBT. You get in there, you're talking about immigration. You get in there talking about abortion. You get in there talking about everything else but what the black people in Louisiana need. So black folks say, you know what, maybe I'll go vote for Landry, and that's why they got 12% of the vote. Once again, black folks don't show up or black folks vote for the other side, Democrats will always lose. Now I say Collins and say the Dillard professor attributed those figures in part to Landry's advertising strategy, which targeted black voters before the primary. They say the state Democratic Party also lacked an apparatus to mobilize black voters in Wilson's support. He said Wilson also couldn't match Landry's formidable spending power and struggled as a result to energize the Democratic base. No. It was not the money. Sean Wilson, because he was a black man and because he could have been the first black man that'd be a governor in Louisiana since Reconstruction, that was enough capital alone to get a lot of black people to start paying attention. But you did not capitalize because you wasn't going to do nothing for black people. Once again, we read his website, what he wanted to do. And he was doing the same old Democrat playbook. It don't matter what state they in, they all play the same Democrat playbook. And black people saw this guy is not going to do nothing for us. Who cares if he's in there? Listen, I'll vote for somebody that's black like that. Okay, cool. But he got to do something for black people. And the voters have said no. And even if you quantify what they said, 70% of the vote went to Wilson, 12% went to Landry. That's still underneath the 91% of the black vote that John Bell Edwards received in Louisiana. So you still had people who didn't show up to vote. Now they say Democrats' failure to get a candidate into the runoff and say it's just as bad. They say in every respect. They said there is no possible way you could put a positive spin on something that abysmal. They say Louisiana Democratic State Party Chair Katie Bernhard issued a statement Saturday thanking Wilson for running an honest, principled campaign for governor. In his concession speech, Wilson told the crowd in New Orleans that there is no regrets in the Wilson household and called on voters to not give up on Louisiana. So Democrats, just let me ask you a question. Do you get it? Are you starting to get it? How many elections you got to lose? Because we on a roll here. We on a roll. This is good. This is actually real good for the black American community. This is good because as we keep making these Democrats lose elections, they're going to have to concede and do what black folks tell them to do. See, when you piss off your base, when you make us upset, we have the ability to sit you down politically. We have that ability. And what's happening is, as we said before, y'all biggest support base, a lot of them are going to see Jesus. A lot of your black voters going to see Jesus. And you're not replacing them. So now you left with those who are not in that age range. The 65 and up, they said, is their biggest voter block in the Democrat Party. And the problems they have actually is with the 18 to 50-year-olds. They say that's actually the biggest problem they have. You're going to keep losing elections, Democrats. You can paper up all you want, the boule. You'll be wasting money. They're not going to deliver an election to you. Listen, Democrats, you can't insult black people no more. You can't say the first black this, the first black that no more. It doesn't work. You can't use our ancestors and say our ancestors died so for us to vote. You didn't use up all the playbook you didn't use. You can't use fear on us about racism and fear of Trump and fear of the Republicans and fear. You didn't play all your cards. You didn't play them. Black folks now are looking at, you have to show and prove. And what you have shown us and proven to us that you will prioritize everybody else. Black folk forever have been telling you, hey, we need a anti-black hate crime bill. Just like you did with the COVID-19 bill. And in that bill, it said Asian hate crimes, Asian discrimination. You had no problem. Now, when black folk was saying that mess to Boule Martin, I think on X, formerly known as Twitter, I saw him say, well, why do you need that? They got the Matthew Shepard, James Byrd hate crime bill. That's what he said. Now, when they was talking about a hate crime bill for the Asian community, notice no Asian commentator came out and told Asians that they don't need a hate crime bill because they have the Matthew Shepard, James Byrd Jr. hate crime bill. Notice that? See, other groups, they know how to shut their mouth. They know how to stay on code with their group. When it's time to give out money and some checks, they shut up and go ahead on and get their checks. Not our group. We got people like Boule Martin in the game is out here talking about you ain't getting no reparations. Why you need it for? That's certain. Trust me. We have so many people sabotaging our progress that is in the black community. Now you can talk about Roland Haitian. He ain't gonna get it. The fact is, Roland is in a position to sabotage our progress. He is. All the shills, that's what they do. They're here to keep you on a plantation of nothingness. They want you to get yourself up, go vote Democrat, ski weed to the poll, soul to the poll, you'll pass the pork chop, want you to get out there to the poll. Everybody wants you to get out there to the poll. And notice, the people that want to get you to the poll, you notice how they all getting papered up? See, notice Pastor Porkchop not saying nothing about the migrants. Notice that? Because he getting papered up. Notice the Boule. Notice they don't cover nothing about the migrant crisis. Notice they don't say nothing about what's happening in Chicago and New York. They don't talk about it at all. They leave the migrant crisis alone. Notice how they don't say nothing to the Democrats. Now watch this. What's going to happen? I'm going to predict this, and please come tell me and show me the video when it happens. Boule Martin is going to try to start criticizing Chicago for the migrants. But he do that so some of y'all who's like not learned in their tactics, he want to draw y'all back to the Democrat Party. So he'll start criticizing them a little bit. He'll talk about Brandon Johnson, but he won't talk about the white Democrats and what they do. He won't go in on Biden like that. He won't do that. Or any of those senators or whoever, he's not going to go in on them. He'll target a black one every once in a while. Because this migrant crisis, all this, you fussing at black people, why don't you fussing at Chicago for giving $9,000 to people who didn't vote Democrat? See, black people are seeing that this migrant situation has made them draw the line in the sand and say, nah, bro, nah. Enough is enough. We didn't had it. And I'm so glad black people are starting to wake up. They're waking up because we have been done wrong for so long. Our votes shouldn't be going to nobody that's not doing a thing for us and not saying nothing. And I said that before. If the Republicans would actually go talk to the black community right now, and if they would actually invest money into advertising to the black community right now and saying what they can do for the black community, what they're presenting for the black community, they actually would get more headway than what Landry got if they actually target them. To see the Democrats target the black community. Republicans always feel, we can't do nothing with them, so we're just not going to invest. But no, invest into it. Tell them what you're going to do for the black community. Have town halls to the black community. See what they want and what they need. They'll tell you. And do something for the black community. If you start doing something for the black community, you start seeing those voter election results much higher if you do investment into the black community. Black people want their communities to be like everybody else's community. We don't want food deserts. Now, if you come in the office and you say, hey, look, I'm going to make sure you guys get, the same things in every community. In your community, we're going to put good grocery stores, gyms. We're going to do this and that, good schools and all of that. We're going to make sure we're going to clean that community up with the areas that has crime, investment. We're going to do different things that the black people want, right? We don't have to go to the so-called white side of town. I'll tell even white folks that. If you don't want a bunch of black people living next to you, well, just the same thing that you got in your neighborhood, make sure and tell the city council, no. What we got, they need to get, because they would prefer to stay in their area, and they will. We really don't want them in our area. So the black folks go into the area because of resources. So if you share the resources, make sure the same resources is in the black communities, then we won't go over there where you at. But as long as the resources are there, doggone it, we going. And you not stopping it no time soon, right? We told y'all that. Those of you who don't really like black people, you can keep us out by making sure we have the exact same things you have. You got Whole Foods, we need Whole Foods, right? You got Sprouts, we need Sprouts. You got these state-of-the-art gyms and all of that, we need that. Everything you got, we need. The roads being good and all that, we need that too. All the businesses you got, we got to have that too. Or we coming over there where you at. It's just that simple. So Republicans, take advantage of this time. The water is trouble for you right now. Black people are real sick and tired. And see, the Democrats, the only way they can get black people back on the Democrat train, they gotta do something like reparations, to be honest with you. If they do reparations, black folks will really jump back on Democrats. I'll say that. They will. But they don't support reparations through the party. Much as black folks voted for Democrats, you would think there would be like an agenda. Say, look, we get in power, we pass some reparations. Just that simple. And we're going to pass it in a way that it can't be challenged with a lawsuit. We're going to do it lineage-based, right? But if you're not willing to pay reparations, while we're watching you give all this money to Ukraine, now you're giving more money to Israel, the migrants, you're protecting the Asians, you're doing for everybody else. The Democrats is doing all this, right? And you say, forget Black America. Okay, Black America gonna do the same thing. Forget you on election day. Benign neglect us. Okay, we benign neglect you at the polls. And you have people like myself that's going to be watching you every step of the way and watching and reporting back to the black community where the money going, what you're spending it on, and what you're not doing for black people. And we're going to be stomping that every chance we get, definitely on this podcast. Because one thing you and the Boule is not going to do, you're not going to deceive my people no more. The days of deceiving our people are over. You might well tell Boule Martin, them luncheons are canceled that he like to go to that y'all pay for, because he has no use no more. If he can't deliver black people up to vote for the Democrats and people like him, it's no use for him. And that's good. We got to put the bully out of business. And that's part of our job. The Democrat shields. We have to, anytime they speak, we got to challenge them. Anytime they talk down on us, we got to challenge them. So make sure that if they have videos talking down on us politically, saying crap, the shields, let me know. Send me a line somewhere. Share the video with me. Share the link with me or wherever it's at. On X or, wherever, TikTok, wherever the video's at, YouTube, let me know, because the best way to combat them is dissect what they say and show how much they lie and try to get you back on a Democrat plantation that's not going to do nothing for you. Remember, you go out there in 2024 and you go vote Democrat, you think you got problems right now? Oh, just wait, because they're going to continue to flood black neighborhoods the way they are with the migrants. And you think you got problems now? Oh, give them 4 more years. You're not going to be able to come back from it. You're not. We have an opportunity right now as a community to try to turn this thing around just a little bit. Try to start turning it in the right direction. I know some people have said, I made that mistake. I voted for him. Look, that's the past. We focusing on the future right now. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Yes, people say, oh, you get what you vote for. Yes, fine. But now you have the opportunity to make things right and continue to make things right. It's time for black people not only demand something, but make them do something for you. You understand? Since you know you have all the political power to make a Democrat be in office or make them in their political careers, right? Once again, you got the power to sit the Democrats down for the next 5, 10 election cycles if you want. You have that power because they depend on you to win. They don't depend on Hispanics. They don't depend on Asians. They don't depend on white people. They don't depend on Arabs or nobody else. They depend on you. And since they depend on you, you need to be the number one priority for Democrats. And if you're not the number one priority for Democrats, then that's a problem. You are the most important voter bloc, but yet you get nothing. You're at the bottom. Migrants don't vote at all, and yet they're getting everything. That alone is the most insulting thing. Ukraine getting everything, but you get nothing. So they got black people right now that's homeless. But yet the people, you remember I showed that video of Ukraine? They partying it up in Ukraine. Not every area that in Ukraine is Russia's attacking like that. Got all your tax dollars. They're not watching where the money going. Who's to say all that money is going to that equipment? If you're giving them cash money. People pocketing money. There's corruption going on in these places. It wouldn't surprise me that Zelensky dude got billions of dollars holed up somewhere that he was siphoning off for him and his wife. Please. If the Democrats not going to make us their number one priority, then we never make them our number one priority when it comes to vote. Gone are the days that we're asking and begging the Democrats. We're telling the Democrats what they're going to do. No, you're going to do reparations. We're not asking you. And we don't want to hear nothing about no study. They are proving with the virus. They are proving with Ukraine. They're proving with everything that they don't need no study. They don't need a commission. They don't need none of that. They can just start giving money out anytime they get good and ready. We don't want to hear talk of that no more. Do what black people tell you to do about reparations, an anti-black hate crime bill, and make sure the anti-black hate crime bill is enforced. And if a prosecutor is not enforcing it, then he or she need to be prosecuted by the DOJ as well. We got to have that at minimum. These, they need programs where we need more black doctors in America that needs to be funded by the federal government because it's not right not to have enough black doctors in this country. That's ridiculous. You can end a lot of the issues of black women dying in childbirth by just having black doctors. The studies have shown that black people have better health care with black doctors, black nurses. They've proven that. There's a lot of things that black folks need. Y'all got paper for everything else in this country. Y'all got paper for black people. Unlimited paper, too. We got to start telling these Democrats what we need and what's going to have to go on. It's just that simple. Or we just not voting for you. Unlimited checkbook for everybody else, but they main voter block. Nothing for us. No, them days are done. And because we allowed it. Like I said, we allowed them to play the games about your ancestors and shaming you. And we allowed all that for so long. But that's okay. Waking up is better late than never. Now we can change the future for our children. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you do. I'm seeing a lot of people. I'm be watching all these election results. Louisiana was beautiful. Beautiful election results, black people. Beautiful. The Democrats don't do you right. And you showed them in that election. Now, we got more elections coming up. We definitely got 2024 coming up, right? We got to see if y'all going to show up with that. Either y'all going to vote for the other side or y'all going to say, I ain't voting for now one of y'all. As long as you vote for Democrat, good with me. Because I want the Democrats to realize that they really got a new day here now. It's a new day. It's a new time. We're not afraid of racism like that, like you think we are. We're not. Even if it was a situation like George Floyd, we still going to blame you. You know why we're going to blame you if that happens again? Because you didn't create an anti-black hate crime bill. You could have did it, and you didn't do it. You did it for Asians. So we're going to blame you for that too. We told you about ending qualified immunity. Democrats didn't want to end qualified immunity for the police. They didn't want to do it. So we'll blame you again. Oh, everything being laid at your feet. Everything. And I know the same old plantation members. What about Republicans? What about them? What about them? We're dealing with Democrats. That's who we vote for. So we're dealing with them. We're holding them accountable. When black folks vote 70, 80, 90% Republican, then we start holding them accountable. But more and more lower voter turnout and black folks voting more Republican, you're going to see more of that coming down the line because Biden and them is not only going to double down, but the DNC is going to triple down because they think that they can stall us out. Well, the day of stalling us out is over. You can't play no games, no tricks. The day of defeat is here.